Was anyone else expecting them to make a trade by now, or was it just me? What is up, everybody? Welcome back to Recaps from Chirpin DMV. I am Ben, your host of Recaps, as usual. Your guide to all things Washington Capitals hockey. Now, I think it's safe to say it's been a rough stretch for Washington as of late. There's been some tough games. I don't think I'm telling any tales outside of school when I say that. So it was nice to see them get at least a couple of wins over this last week, but we should talk about some of their losses. Let's get into the Columbus game. We had Ovi back off COVID protocol, which is always good when he's been easily the best player on the team. We had Phoenix Copley getting the start, which is interesting because Vitek's still out with his injury from the Pittsburgh game. And I guess they were just either giving Sammy the night off or not trusting Sammy. It's one of the two. And obviously, again, I don't think I'm telling any tales outside of school when I say the power play's been horrendous. So they moved Kuznetsov to power play 2 and put Eller on power play 1. Again, mixing it up. I don't know if he's the guy that I would choose to move with how well he's played this year, but I mean, you gotta mix it up somehow, I guess. So whatever. I'm fine with it for that reason. And it's a scoreless period for most of it until 17 minutes in when the fourth line, Garnet Hathaway, gets involved. The Garnyard dog. He's putting a lot of pucks in the net this year. I know he doesn't have that many goals, but for the fourth line, I feel like he's been producing a lot more than I'm used to him producing. I haven't even looked at his numbers. Maybe he's having a career year. I could be making this up. It just feels like he scores a lot this year. Anyways, just a dirty backhand chop on a rebound. Just a fourth line goal. You love to see it. Capture up 1-0. Capitals would score again, fourth line again too. Nick Dowd, who I just can't praise enough, he scores. I think it just goes off a D-man's foot, but regardless, fourth line goal, capture up 2-0. Things are looking good until they take a penalty. And yes, the power play has been extremely bad, but that doesn't excuse how bad the penalty kill has also been. No one really talks about it as much, but it has just equally taken a nosedive with the power play. The Blue Jackets capitalize on this opportunity. Patrik Laine, set up in the Ovi spot, just rips it. It was a pretty obvious setup. Like, you could tell that puck was moving to Laine. It wasn't moving that fast, so I would have kind of liked Phoenix Copley to make that save. On the other hand, Patrik Laine has one of the best one-timers in the league. He's like Ovechkin. Like, I'll let that one slide. They were shorthanded. It's whatever. So Phoenix gets let off the hook for that one, but that doesn't excuse some later plays. Capitals are shorthanded again, but just as the penalty's ending, Lars Eller with a brutal turnover. Ask AB. This guy's turnover rates this year have been brutal, and they're not like minor turnovers. These have been like back of the net turnovers. And so right when he turns it over, Blue Jackets go down, snipe it from the top of the hash marks. That's one where it's not Laine shooting that. It's like Bjorkstrand or whoever. So I would like Copley to make that save, and I would really love for Eller to stop turning pucks over because he has like slowly become trade bait because he's just not played like Lars Eller. But then the Capitals power play, Kuzi, like I was just saying how I don't love that he's being moved to the second line, shakes it up. He scores on the power play, which you love to see, I guess. He just tried something new. He didn't have John Carlson defeat it to or Backstrom down low, so he just shot it, and good things happen. It's a coach's dream, you know, putting pucks on net. So Kuzi does that. He finds the back of the net. This is just like all they need to do is just try new stuff. Kuzi, he shoots from the wall sometimes, but like just do it more often. You don't always need to set up the perfect play. Just put a puck on net. Good things will happen. They score on the power play here. Capitals take another penalty. Laine scores another power play goal. This one's tough. It's right off the face-off. Laine is just, there's no one in front of Copley. It's him and Laine. Again, any other player, I'm going to critique Copley more, but it's Laine. He can shoot the puck and it beats him. So Capitals are losing to the Blue Jackets in just a special teams battle here. Seems like a lot of Capitals games are special teams battles. Like that Pittsburgh game where Vitek got hurt. There was like 5 power play goals on it and a shorthanded goal. They're losing more games than they're winning in these special teams battles too, which is not ideal. This one doesn't come on special teams. This is 5-on-5. Phoenix Copley. This is the play I'm talking about. You can't let this goal in. Blue Jackets rookie. His name, it's weird. I don't even, what is his name? Trey Fix Wolanski scores his first NHL goal. This goal shouldn't go in. It squeaked right through Copley. Like, you just gotta have that. I don't know what else to say other than that. And then in desperation, the Capitals pull the goalie. Tom Wilson in front, collects a turnover, just puts in the back of the net. You're just thinking, thank God the Capitals are going to get out of here with a point at least. They could even win it in overtime with a shootout in a game they probably don't deserve to be winning at all. And then with less than a minute to go, with Sammy in net, by the way, Copley got pulled. Boone Jenner just takes a shot. Sammy lets out a massive rebound. It comes back to Boone Jenner, who puts it in with under a minute left, and the Capitals lose that one. This is a tough game. This is a game you got to win, especially after they had lost to Edmonton, had not been playing great hockey overall as of late. So going into the next game against Montreal, this was like, if they don't win, big moves are coming up. That was kind of like the preface of this game, was like, if it goes bad, expect people gone, which is like, it was such like a tough thing, because it's like, if they lose, they're going to make moves that they probably need to make anyways quicker. If they win against the worst team in it, like historically one of the worst teams in NHL history, then they're going to delay those moves because they think everything's all right. Obviously it was the latter, and I'm okay with them winning, obviously, but hopefully that doesn't scare off the management from making some kind of moves to improve the team quicker. So Montreal Canadiens in Montreal, Alex Ovechkin can't play. Insanity. Absolutely nuts. So this guy can play in an NHL game 2 nights before, but can't play in Montreal because of some border crossing thing. Like, it makes absolutely no sense. It's so ridiculous. Have to play in an empty building. There's a sick atmosphere to get back on the winning side of things. Feel good. Go play in an empty building without your captain. So anyways, Samsonov starts in this one. Good news came out of this one. Joe Snively became Joey Snipes. He scores his first NHL goal, and this kid is just growing on me so fast. I remember when his name was being mentioned as being called up, I'm like, why are we calling up these no-name people I've never heard of? And now I just kind of want Joe Snively around all the time, because he just plays. He's like Connor Sherry, like I said in the last time, but I think he's like he's gonna be a little better than Connor Sherry. Like, he's not young, he's like 26, but he's still a rookie and still like adapting to the NHL, and he seems to be doing a pretty good job at it. Anyways, after the rookie Snively scores his first, McMichael scores 20 seconds later, just throwing a puck on net. This is kind of what we expect out of McMichael. Just if there's a puck, he's gonna put it on net. That's why he has that goal scorer tag attached to him, because this guy just puts pucks on net, and in this case probably shouldn't have gotten in, but it did because he just took a chance. So nice to see McMichael getting back on the board. And in the second period, the Capitals take a 3-0 lead on the stick of Carl goddamn Hagelin, and it's just the most Carl Hagelin goal you could ever ask for. Just coming down the wing, runs out of space and has no angle and just flicks a puck on net. Had no business going in, but it does. Capitals are up 3-0. Carl Hagelin's feeling confident again. Look out league when Hagelin's feeling confident. You don't know what this guy can do. The Habs would strike to make it 3-1 on just like a brutal shot from the point, messy rebound situation. Hard to blame anyone here. Just one of those goals, you know. I feel like they get a lot of those scored on. Maybe I'm just biased because I watch more Washington games than any other team, but I just feel like a lot of those garbage goals just always find their way in. When there's a scramble in front, I just kind of like, oh, okay, this is going in, and it did, and it's 3-1. Then not long after, Joey Snipes comes down, makes a gross move on the D, and just snipes it past, I think it was Caden Primo. I'm pretty sure it was. And again, this kid, he's 3 years older than me. He scores his second NHL goal in the same game he scores his first. It's a beauty goal. Who's there to cheer him on? The managers up top, maybe a couple like workers, because the building's empty, so that sucked. But it's still awesome to see Joey Snipes getting in like that again, starting to fall in love with this guy. And the Habs yanked their goalie, so first chance he gets to score, this guy's pulling goalies, so look out league. Him and Carl Hagelin are catching heat. Then the Habs get a power play, and Washington allows another goal on the penalty kill. Cole Caulfield too, which is funny enough, he only has 1 goal this year, and it was against Washington earlier in the year. So now he has 2, and they're both against Washington. Up to this point, Washington had allowed 7 goals on their last 11 opportunities on the kill, so that's not a good percentage necessarily if you're trying to win games. Again, special teams battles do not favor Washington, so thankfully this wasn't much of one, but when Montreal got a power play, they buried, so that's concerning because they are garbage. And then it looks like Caulfield scores again, and I'm just biting my nails because it's a 1-goal game against Montreal, and it's Caulfield again, who only scores against Washington apparently this year. The Capitals couldn't clear it, then Schultz kind of flies by his guy and doesn't cover him well, but thankfully the puck was caught offside and thrown over. It was a really weird play, but thank God the review team was there. They called it, it didn't count, and we could breathe a little easier. And at this point, Montreal's dominating the game, which is so concerning on so many levels. You can't let, again, a historically bad team dominate you if you have cup aspirations. And again, I'm pretty forgiving for teams, because I know hockey is such a game of chance and luck, and sometimes the puck just goes your way. And Montreal was just having a good game, but even then you gotta equal the worst team in the league's best game. You really have to, and they didn't here. But anyways, Joe Snively could shoot at the empty net, looks it off, gives it over to Willie Willie puts the puck in the net. Joey Snipes, 2 goals and an assist, making the right plays at the right time, playing smart again. I'm liking this kid. I'm wanting him to stick around until next year unless he really falls off the deep end here. But Washington takes the win 5-2. Not a great game by any stretch of the imagination, but just take the 2 points, get out, and just forget about it. Try and be better the next game. But the next game was a Sunday matinee game, and if we know anything about history with Washington, that's not good. So they're in Ottawa for this one, and it was just garbage right off the rip, basically. So I was talking about their special teams. Oh, their penalty kills not stopping goals. Oh my goodness, their power play can't score. What if they got scored on shorthanded? They'll mix it up there about how bad the special teams are. So their power play allows the Ottawa Senators, who Montreal is a bottom team. Ottawa is like 2 or 3 spots above them in the standings. They're a much better team, but still. And they just come down, they get a pass off in the slot and just one time it in for a shorty. Sammy just doesn't make the save. No one stops the pass or breaks it up when they have extra guys on the ice. It wasn't good to start the game. It just wasn't good at all, flat out. That was their 7th shorthanded goal they've allowed this year, which is 2nd in the NHL. So congrats. There's a team worse than you on the power play, I guess. And then the Sens strike again to make it 2-0. They get an odd man rush, which it felt like they just had so many. This team was buzzing in transition. They just kept turning it, and Washington couldn't keep up because they are. But yeah, Ottawa was just clicking in transition. Washington couldn't keep up, and they score one on the rush. But then their power play scores again. So it's this really weird dynamic where their power play looks awful, and they're most of the time not producing, but it seems like every game lately they've been getting at least 1 power play goal. So it's hard to say like it's not working, but like it isn't working. But anyways, they score this one. But this was good though, because Backstrom was in front of the net, like just right in front of the goalie where he never is. He's always half wall guy. So if you mix that up, it already throws their coverage off because they know that Backstrom's always there. If he's not there, this person covering him is lost. So Backstrom's in front. Ovi gets his one-timer off low, and Backstrom's right there to put in the rebound. That's good. That looks awesome. Just keep changing things like that. It'll throw other teams off. And then, like I was talking about mad scrambles in front, they always go in. Near the end of the second, the Sens get a mad scramble in front, and it goes in. Brady Tkachuk puts it in. Capitals are down 3-1 to the Sens in another not good game, basically. Then, knowing his team needs a spark because he's just a smart, beautiful hockey player, Tom Wilson lays out Thomas Chabot cleanly. Mr. Clean here, no dirt on these hands. He smokes him. Brady Tkachuk kind of gets in there. Kuznetsov like shoves him off because in comes Nick Paul ready to drop him. Brady knows better than that. Not that he wouldn't fight Tom Wilson, but he's like, that's a clean hit. We probably don't need to fight over this. Nick Paul doesn't know that, so he gets the wheels beaten off of him by Tom Wilson. You would hope that would spark the team. It doesn't really at all. And then Connor Brown comes down and just cuts across, shoots it back far side, and it goes in. And I was like watching like, really, Sam, you're gonna let that in? And don't get me wrong, it was a nice hard shot and it was deceptive because he had a D-man kind of blocking, but that's an inexcusable goal to allow as a goalie, in my opinion. I don't know how others feel, but that's got to be saved. I think that one's not line A shooting that. That's Connor Brown. That's got to be stopped. Capitals don't respond and they lose 4-1. So all the relief that was felt when they beat Montreal, like all the weight off the shoulders, like oh my God, we're back in the win column. We put up some good goals there. We held them to few. It was gone after this one when they allowed 4 from Ottawa, a couple weak ones, and only scored 1 on them. That's not good. You wonder why the Capitals would be looking for depth scoring when they have such like a deep offensive team, and now you see it here. There's just inconsistency. Like they'll have games where they score like 5 against a good team and then 1 against a bad team. So it's not that like they're not scoring, it's just having that extra security of a player that can score down the lineup. That's just super helpful come playoff time. And then finally, final game, we got the Nashville game. Now, if you remember the last Nashville game, it was randomly physical and rough for like no real reason. It was like one of those confusing, the teams just randomly hated each other that night. This game was physical, not nearly as physical as it was. This game was much better than the Ottawa game, I'll say that. So we got Sammy back in the net. Again, makes sense. Vitek's still out. Copley isn't the guy. We know this. And it starts early. Connor Sherry buzzes down the wing, makes a few sick moves and just throws it back door to Joey Snipes. His counterpart, he just has all day and a half to put the puck in the net, which he does. He's got 3 goals in as many games. I'm sure a lot of Caps fans would call that a short king connection. I wouldn't. But, nice seeing Snidely getting back on the board. Sherry just doing what he does. Just what a signing. You know what it is. To the dismay of some and the joy of probably others, Justin Schultz hurts himself in this game. I don't even know really what it was. I think it was his wrist or something, but he had to leave the game. He didn't come back, and he's not playing tonight against Philly. Again, I'm sure some people are kind of happy about that. They don't like the way he plays. Schultz, obviously, I see when he misses an assignment or something, but I don't think he's nearly as bad as people say he is, at all. He's not a $4 million D-man, but he's not a league minimum D-man either. He's just one of the whipping boys. And then there's this play. Nashville's coming down on an odd man rush, and I see Ovi kind of give up and stop covering his guy. I'm like, oh man, that's what he used to do, and people used to criticize him for. And then they get a wide open net, and all of a sudden Ovi just is like, no, and he saves a goal. He just makes a big save off his number 8, and I was like, whoa, where did that come from? A game-saving block from Alex Ovechkin early in the game. Not in the playoff. It was awesome to see though. Then not much happens for the first and second periods after that. No goals are being scored or anything. And then finally the Predators tied in the third, 3 minutes in. It was a tough goal. They just shot it from the point. It hit a person in front, kind of bounced up and went behind Sammy. So, just one of those goals where it's oh my God, you just hate seeing it go in, but there's not much you can do. And they were kind of due, the Predators at that point. I think they hit 6 million posts throughout this game. So, like I said during the game, Sammy can't just be rubbing that post anymore. He's got to take it out to dinner or something, the way it was saving his bacon. I don't like that I said that, saving his bacon. No, forget that I said that. But then unreal response from Washington. Nick Jensen scores on what some are considering, and rightfully so, the prettiest passing play of the year. It was disgusting, and it involved 2 fourth-liners, Garnet Hathaway and Carl Hagelin. Hagelin throws it down to Hathaway, who just one touch scoops it between his legs to Jensen, who has a wide open net. It was just it was a dump and chase lover's dream seeing these guys score that goal. It was disgusting. Jensen getting back in the goal column. Capitals responding well, which is always nice because they're notorious for allowing goals after they score. But then right after, Capitals get a power play. They had not scored on any power plays yet this game, and they had their chances. People, myself included, were ready to just karate chop Blaine Forsythe. They're just doing the same thing, and it's like Voss from Far Cry 3 when he's the definition of insanity. He's doing the same thing and expecting a different result. That is Blaine Forsythe. He is a villain. He is the Capitals fan base's villain. Now, I don't hate him because he's done 15 years of amazing power plays, but right now it's man, you got to adapt, and he just wasn't doing that. But then he always gets rewarded because he has number 8 on the point, and Ovi just unloads this one for his 30th of the year. Finally, he gets that 30 threshold. I mean, it was only 6 games without a goal, but when that's Ovi, it feels like a whole season. So he finally scores. It's his 16th 30-goal season of all time. He's just behind Mike Gartner, who has 17 for the most ever. So a couple Caps legends going head-to-head there. And the Capitals keep that solid response up well. They now have a 3-1 lead late in the game, too. And before the game, I tweeted out, if you like free money, bet on Ovi to score. But if you really like free money, bet on him to score multiple goals. Because this guy, like I said, 6 games without a goal, that's got to be driving him crazy, especially when he's 1 away from a milestone, a 30-goal season. That always eats away at him. Of course, empty net goal. He only scores empty net goals from his own end. The second I saw him get it, it was just money in the bank. Sends it down, goes in the back of the net. Capitals win this one 4-1. I win my bets. I'm a very happy camper. At that point, I'm dapping up Blaine Forsythe because I'm pumped that we scored on the power play and I won some money off of it. Also, not to be forgotten, this was Peter Laviolette's 700th win as an NHL coach, so congrats to him. People might suggest that he's not a great coach because the Capitals have been slumping. Those people are stupid and wrong because he's a very good coach. He has 700 NHL wins, and he's been coaching an AHL team for the majority of the season. But anyways, this video is probably way too long as it is. I have a real problem with that. But that's it for this one. We got the Flyers tonight, rivalry game. So hopefully this is tough because they stink this year as well. So we really got to beat them to keep this chain rolling. If you lose to a worse team, you're just immediately back off the track. So hopefully they get the W tonight. I'll be watching. Blaine Forsythe has just the most eyes on him and probably the hottest seat in hockey right now. So thank you for watching this one. Stay tuned for my next recap next week where I'll talk about whatever happens in this Philly game, good or bad, and I will let you know my honest thoughts as I tend to do. And, congrats to Sid Crosby for 500 goals. That's a tough milestone. It only happened to Ovi 6 years ago. Anyways, peace.